two fine drives experts, John Zekaris, Austin Mahado. They know their stuff inside out. They're going to give a presentation on this slick new piece of hardware. So without further ado, John and Austin, would you like to introduce yourselves, and let's kick this off?
Okay, yes, my name is John Zekaris. It's right here. How's it going, everybody? I've been with Gerrie Electric since July 2000 and taken on power-related products since January 2006. Drives first, and then around 2011, July, started doing motor control centers also, as it made sense to get involved with that. So got a fair amount of experience, probably seen a fair amount of you guys, customers out there over the years, and happy to be here to present to you guys. Austin?
Thank you, John. Yep, my name is Austin Malhado. I am with the automation group, more specifically the drive and MCC specialist, and I've been with Gerrie Electric now for close to 6.5 years. It'll be 7 in February, and started with the group on the inside sales, technical support, and then moved over to our process group for a handful of years. And since February of last year, I've joined the automation product manager group in this role. So very excited to go over this presentation that John and I have today on the 755TS. And thanks for everyone for attending.
All right, gentlemen, before you really kick it off, I just forgot 2 points. One is we are recording this meeting for future reference. It'll be up on the website. We'll be advertising it on LinkedIn and social media, and all the account managers will have that information. Second, questions. We'd like to ask that you ask your questions throughout the presentation in chat. Austin and John are both going to be monitoring chat. They're both going to be presenting, and they're both going to be keeping an eye on chat, and they'll respond to chat. Any questions in chat they'll respond to, or anything that isn't responded. There's going to be a Q&A at the end of this session, and for the Q&A, we'll enable all the microphones. So if you have any questions, feel free to shout out during the Q&A. But during the presentation, if you do have any questions, we just like to ask that you please drop them in chat, and we'll get to them as soon as we can. Okay, thank you very much. Gentlemen, it's all yours.
Okay, I'll just turn off my camera and we'll make more space for everything here.
Sure.
You guys can see the screen right now, the first slide, right?
Looks beautiful, bud.
Okay, good. And you can see our pictures there as well. And some pictures of the new GT drive. Nice. All right. So the 755TS drive, as you can see, has a new look for anything you've been used to. There's a small frame size drive, as you see on the picture here on the slide. A little bit of that black coloring and the typical whitish beige plastic housing and stuff. So it's basically a new look, and certainly a lot more features built into the drive. So that'll be differentiating it, and you see the TS on the end of the 755 there. So most of you probably have seen a 753 and a 755 drive standard that's been out there since probably 2012, I believe, that these drives came out and slowly been released. Usually 600 volts, always a little bit behind on new releases and things like that. So definitely this drive now is high performance, a lot of capabilities, can meet a lot of applications and all your needs. Certainly safety and security enhanced. SIP security is something that's coming on board now with all of our products fitting together. Certainly just as easy and getting easier to integrate into your logic-based controllers over a network. So for integration, the configuring of it, visualization. So when you have screens around in your plant, HMIs to take a look into things, certainly a lot more ease of integration of all that. So some of the main, we'll call it the 4 S's, safety, obviously hardwired, advanced safety, SIP safety over Ethernet IP. Totally going forward with this, you could still do the SIP safety on the regular 755 drive with an add-on option board. And certainly this is the case just as much. A lot more smarts in the drive now. We have total force technology, which is coming out the last few years on our TL and TR drives, like more regenerative and low harmonic drives. And this is basically at the end of the day just a 6-pulse drive, standard diode front end with a lot more capabilities to match all those drives that came out the last few years. So you get more real-time operational intelligence, more easier commissioning and optimization of the setup for your drive to your application. It's scalable, so using the same platform for all your applications and adding on to the drive's capabilities with similar cards that we've had out in the past, and certainly some new enhanced add-on modules that we'll talk about in the future. This presentation is a little bit more on the simpler side, so getting into individual option boards and things are not in this presentation, but certainly as whether questions at the end or certainly a future visit and or Teams meeting, we'd be more than happy to do for you to discuss further for your applications and needs. And security, SIP security as part of your defense in-depth strategy. Certainly, there's always probably more and more as we network products in the industrial plant for that there's a risk of people coming in that are up to no good that will try to disrupt your system, and we want to have a more secure system that our drives would plug into our control system as a complete system. So familiar feel, obviously, and just how it works, how it programs, how it looks. So let's say it started on the right here. Our standard products includes like 753. So, but in terms of a higher performance drive, 755 is mentioned on the slide on the right hand side. Then a few years ago, we've been introducing a lot of the bigger frame, starting at 10 horsepower. You could get a low harmonic or regenerative drive. So some of the drives with the dark front cover there in the left-hand set of pictures of drives, along with those freestanding drives, were like smaller horsepower, but still kind of bigger size. But certainly these drives were mostly around introducing the advanced diagnostics, predictive diagnostics, certainly lower harmonics and regenerating capabilities as a standalone drive, or within the family bus supplies to hang off a bunch of different drives from it. So now in the middle on the bottom there, we have a high performance drive with a lot of the capabilities of the T series coming into a TS high performance drive in a 6-pulse packaging and capabilities for the front end of the drive. So again, it's simple. It's not going to be a super low harmonic kind of drive, but it's got all the software and the capabilities to drive better applications and more challenging applications, and certainly an offering on that in the lower horsepower for range for now. So we got high performance motor control, one drive that can do a lot with agnostic motor control. So we can do a various amount of applications that the 755 drive may have had special needs to add on to it. Or a drive in the past that you may have heard of is the PowerFlex 700S that had a lot of horsepower in its ability to control torque and speed regulation, and the ability to do some challenging applications such as motion, because it had like a Logix engine that you may be able to add built in. So certainly we can do a lot more applications now with this drive and handle a variety of motors of different types, whether it's a regular induction motor to permanent magnet motors and various applications like that. So you have more throughput also. You can, like the 700S, follow speed and torque commands very closely and very effectively control that. Rejecting disturbances within the loads that change and be able to not be bent out of shape as it's running the application, to control the application as needed. Which also results in just better production for your things you're making at your end user plant, right? So so if things are changing rapidly, we can make a better quality product. If you're extruding or you're machining things, or you're running a caster, or just any kind of applications that are out there, maybe flattening steel, things like that, we can do a much better job with this higher end performance that's built into the drive. So some of the details on the TS drive here. So initial release is 1 to 400 horsepower in the 480 volt range. So any of the plants in Ontario here that are running on 480 volt, American-owned plants, your automotives, and certain American-owned companies are going to enjoy the initial release on this. Or if you have an area of a power supply system of 40 volt in your plant and you need this drive sooner rather than later, you can actually implement it. That's fine. 600 volt would be coming out in 2023, just to let you know. So that would be the launch plans for that. And we're not too far from that calendar year for phased release of that. Operating temperature here of -20 to 60 overall, without derating, 50 degrees C potential. It supports the same option slots numbers that the regular 755 does for the I/O safety and communications and encoder cards, and the special new cards that are coming out with the capabilities of this drive. Certainly, the packaging also, your typical IP20 panel mounting drives to IP54, that's like NEMA 12, and flange mount items to put into your own enclosure for heatsink out the back. Certainly, as mentioned, you'll find this one to have ease of integration within the Studio 5000 environment with your Logic controller, and dual port gigabit Ethernet is built into this drive. 755 drives had a single port Ethernet built into the main board, so you're getting now dual port Ethernet. This also has device logics as the 755 does, so you can do some sub-programming within the drive, do either standalone application or without a network back to the controller. You can react to certain situations with function block-like programming within the drive and to handle applications better or expand on the capabilities. Like maybe you're just reading so many I/O points in so many scenarios and to do different things, like maybe a crane application for different things like that, is an example that I've seen in the past that we've used device logics. T-Link will be a new fiber optic drive-to-drive communications within an option card, and that will give us that 700S like old drives in the past, like SyncLink had, to do master-slave drive scenarios and high-speed communications from the drive-to-drive and daisy chain and start out to different drives like that. SIP security and certainly Echo Design directive efficiency ratings, IEC number there, so for application performance and lower energy use. So total force technology, it's like field-oriented control enhanced. So it's the first standard industrial 6-pulse drive with the total force technology from Rockwell. It's building on the TL and TR low harmonic and regenerative drives that were released over the last several years. So obviously the flexible motor control, much tighter velocity, torque, and position control for all those applications, and certainly completes the portfolio for what we just offered with the low harmonic and regenerative. So we give everybody a chance for when you just need a 6-pulse drive, simplistic, lower horsepower scenarios to have that experience on that. Operational intelligence, certainly predictive analytics and diagnostics and information coming back that can be brought back to the control system and reported on. And certainly a lot of information that is at our fingertips about the drive's health, possibly on the application and what's going on to recommend things that may be on your motor or maintenance program. So ease of integration, so that would be ease commissioning and optimization. So there's adaptive features like adaptive control. The goal is to reduce startup and commissioning time. Not much complex code needed. It builds on our ability for premium integration back to the controller from what we released back in version 16 of Studio 5000 to certainly be a much more improved experience on that. And just ability to respond to load and mechanical changes during the process. So here's some highlights of some of the features on that. So obviously the performance of what we can do there. Motor types, as you see in top right, induction, permanent magnet, synchronous reluctance motors. The control modes, some of you have heard of a lot of these features: flex vector, sensorless vector, volts per hertz, and economizer modes. Application, go from general purpose to totally industry specific or an application specific type of jobs. And with the options, we have a whole host of options on the drive where we have safety cards, input and output, the ability to repeatedly put in the same input and output card, which is a nice feature. So if you have an older application with a lot of I/O and you don't want to make so much changes, you're not ready to, say, network a drive, and you have like so many relay outputs you want to do, you just throw in, let's say you have 5 relay outputs you got to put on a drive. You know, most drives come with only 2 relay outputs or 1 built into the drive. Certainly these ones with option cards on the 750 series, an example saying, well, we'll put 3 cards in of the same type into the different option slots to get 6 potential relay outputs. So an example of that being able to do either multiple networks or more than 1 I/O card kind of ideas. Certainly adaptive control being a big part of this patented motor control technology. So it simplifies the commissioning, and tuning experience. So obviously auto tuning does work a great way from all our PowerFlex drives from back in 2000, like a PowerFlex 70 or a regular 700 vector control to the 700S to all these 750s that came out at first. And it works for most applications, but there is some applications out there that, you know, you have to do a lot of manual tuning and you need some experience in how to adjust some of the individual parameters after auto tuning has done its part and it's just not quite running right, and you still have to manually tune. Well, we bring some better automated tuning to help you with that in getting the application running for the more complex scenario that you have. So certainly there's continuous adaptation also to changing load and mechanical characteristics. So something that could throw a drive or a product being made out of whack, there's better chance for being able to run and reducing downtime and, you know, having quality issues on whatever you're making it at your end user plant. An advantage of adaptive control. So obviously anything that changes mechanically, so compliance, certainly couplings, backlash, belts, vibrations, misalignments, something changing on you, getting tighter, less lube, like it's not running as nicely, it's getting dry, like in the mechanical parts, or just wear. It can make some changes along the way to allow it to run just like it was when it was running before, as time changes. Those are those slow-moving changes that happen, and the drive is able to better make changes along the way to run the application correctly. So if there's any resonances and things like that, certainly to avoid that and just be able to run through that and not have to skip over different frequencies to run correctly. So anything that possibly, whether it's a slight detuning job going on, so it kind of inertia amplifies the problems where the machine must be detuned. Certainly, you don't have to go back as often or at all possibly to make changes to the tuning or to make manual adjustments to the control of the drive to the motor for the application. Just a little picture on the application just running. So beforehand, the load was running a certain way, and then something happens to the change in load in the middle blue box there, and you're getting a bunch of different changes in just how the load is running, and there's like overshoots and undershoots to try to make adjustments to that, and it's getting a little bit unstable. And then as the circuit analyzes and makes adjustments to the setup on the tuning and to the control of the motor and the application on the green side coming out, it makes the adjustments for us instead of having to go back in manually make changes or give up on certain areas of control of a certain speed that you just can't deal with and it's too hard to control before. So some of the tuning technologies, there's load observer as technology built in for improved time performance and time savings. The control loops for a higher level of accuracy and precision. There's automatic compensation for the unknown mechanics and compliance that come along. And if there's variation on inertia and setups of how the machine runs, certainly it can react better and in step with the application better. and not be into a situation where you have to compromise. And adaptive tuning certainly is in your commissioning stage, as mentioned before. If there's any resonance frequencies or vibrations and things that make the machine and the application unstable, we can adapt to that. And there's tracking notch as an indicator to proactively monitor the machine performance, instead of manually setting up notch filters within parameters of the other drives that were out there. So. SIP security, certainly increasing the security of your whole machines, the networking back to the control system, the ability to get into the control system. It's not just enough to have certainly the control side only on a more secure scenario of the hardware and the settings that you can do to it. Certainly the hardware attached to it over the network is important to have the ability to be more secure with an enhanced ability to encrypt the information going back and forth from devices from end to end, and certainly to try to prevent unauthorized devices from establishing communications, and making sure there's integrity for the information going back and forth, and just so nobody can get into the network and play around with it, making mistakes or maliciously do anything to affect your system and bring it down. Will help with the heavy lifting, certainly as the 755 drive, building on the 700 vector drive, certainly torque proving crane and lifting applications. So we definitely are building on that with this TS drive, able to do the ability to run crane and lifts. Certainly anti-sway technology is also built in as we've released in the TL and the TR drives. Certainly some software and programming in there and the ability to adjust on the fly to help reduce the amount of swinging the load and not have as much manual calculations and work that has to be done in the control system side over the network to calculate for all that. And definitely those are the main features there for enhanced control for crane and lift applications. And regeneration, just mentioned there, obviously, is with our TR and TM drives. With the 6-pulse drive here, you would use, well, you would either use a manual regen unit, which probably would not make sense. You would just buy it in a package from us for the TR drive, but you can use dynamic braking banks attached to the drives from its IGBT DB transistor. So that is available for that. So it is definitely a drive that's our crane and lifting applications drive. And it's now Austin's turn to take over for the rest of the presentation. Take it away, Austin.
Good. Thank you very much, John. I'm just going to request control here so I have access to the slides. Excellent. And just, okay. Thank you very much. So for our customers out there, you may or may not know that Gerrie Electric has been a longtime partner and distributor of Rockwell Automation. And with that partnership, we both are with you every step of the way on your PowerFlex drive investments. I'm going to go over some of the preventative maintenances that the drive does, and also along with some of the services that could come with ordering these PowerFlex 755TSs. So as you can see here on the slide, just some of Rockwell.
Hang on, Austin. Sorry to interrupt. John, are you still sharing your screen?
Yes, he is.
John, are you able to relinquish control and Austin?
I think no, he gave me control. I have control.
Oh, that's yours. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. No, it's good to figure that out beforehand. So some of Rockwell Automation's global capabilities span from system design and engineering, remote and on-site technical support, startup and commissioning, proactive preventative maintenance, MRO, and assessment management programs. And essentially, these are all focused on maximizing the customer's productivity and minimizing downtime and maintenance cost. Okay. So predictive maintenance with the 755TS and its patented total force technology, it has the ability to give you the right information at the right time to make the best decisions. With that, it allows with the diagnostic data, it will allow you to take a proactive approach regarding operation and maintenance, and continuously monitors your drive's health and compares the current performance to your application settings. Along with that, the calculated expected life of components based on actual operation conditions, and with its patented algorithms, it projects the remaining lifespan of drive components such as fan buses and LCL capacitors, IGBT, and relay contacts. Sorry, John, are you still share? I don't think you took it off slide mode. Okay, one sec here. I'm just gonna little detour, ladies and gentlemen. My apologies here. I'm just gonna share my screen. And just like that, we're back. Okay. Immediate notification on issues that may compromise your drive or motor's health, blown fuses, component runtime hours, increased temperatures out of normal range operating, of its normal operating range, excuse me, which allows you to develop an effective maintenance plan ahead of time. Yeah, the next slide here. Just kind of piggybacking off the preventive maintenance with the 755TS. Its operational intelligence allows you to predict, the remaining life of, examples: fan blower, buses, IGBTs, relay contacts, active drive feedback protection, which again, blown fuses and surge suppression, and thermal manager. Kind of hard, maybe difficult to see, but this is an example of CCW allowing you to see your predictive maintenance and some of the remaining life on those different, for example, IGBTs, bus capacitors, and heat sink fans. Sure. Okay. Sorry about that. Along with that, the 755TS has a built-in energy savings. So the PowerFlex drives are designed with efficient internal components to give you more energy savings on your application. More specifically, the energy savings control modes for efficient application operation, and energy efficient moves, energy pause, and the economizer mode. Just give you a little more definition on the economizer mode. That mode's functions the same manner as senseless vector. While the motor is accelerating or decelerating, the increased efficiency is achieved by trimming the voltage during those times when the motor is not heavily loaded. This creates a better load match between energy input and output. You can actually find this mode not just on the 755TS, but on the 753 and 755, the previous model for that, along with the TL and TR. Just for a little more knowledge on that. Okay. I'll now talk about some of the protection from corrosive environments that the 755TS offers. It's an optional in terms of it's called the XT model. So it has a coating on the side, a conformal coating on the side that protects your drive from corrosion protection and corrosive environments. So advanced design, guidelines, installation guidelines, and hardened solutions. First, proprietary corrosion test protocols to help improve uptime and productivity. Ideal for environments, for those corrosive environments, chlorine, sulfuric acid, and so on. Excuse me. Piggyback off the extreme protection. With the XT model, that will reduce unscheduled downtime in corrosive environments, allow you to reduce your installation footprint for corrosive solutions, critical connection point protection, and validated to exceed GX ISA and CX IEC in accelerated corrosive environments. And really, just to kind of let you know what those ratings mean is GX is rated by ISA as the most severe corrosive level, and CX as well is another rating from IEC, and it goes from very low to extreme. CX being the most extreme. You know, typically your offshore, ocean applications, mining applications. So with the XT model, your drive is sufficient to run in those applications. Again, this is just an option, as you can see on the bottom of the slide there. It's just an option for the PowerFlex 755TS. You could obviously go with the standard offering, shell offering. And the XT model actually is a standard on the 755 TL, TR, and TM drives. Again, just to get a little more breakdown on the corrosive gas protection option. So, you know, with that, and this is exactly obviously a smaller frame of how it would look, the XT being right there. We'll start off with the first point, just corrosion resistant components built into this model, the enhanced conformal coating, so you won't get that corrosive buildup on the actual standard offering, which would essentially destroy your drive given time. Critical connection point protection, you know, helping you prevent exposure to internal and external connections. Just to piggyback off that, just an optional product offering. You know, we do have two flavors of this drive, it being the standard model, then the corrosive gas protection model. And again, just tested and validated to those GX and CX specifics. I'll now get into the life cycle support for the drive systems, you know, available as a contractual or transactional services. I'll go over the main ones. Some of them are kind of self-explanatory, but with the 755TS, you know, with the Tech Connect supports or the asset, I'll talk on the first one. So the Tech Connect support will allow you the customers for remote support for troubleshooting, technical adoption. So you essentially get either phone support or live chat support with Rockwell engineers, and each in the tech support group, each group specifies to each product. So if you call the Rockwell Automation Tech Support Group, you will then be directed to the drives group. So you're speaking with experts who know the product and can help you on troubleshooting your solution or finding a solution on your application. Along with that is the asset management. So kind of part of that's kind of the parts management agreement. It allows you access to parts you need with options for on-site assets right in your facilities. So if you need, it's a great solution for spares, on-site spares. So that's also offered with this drive, with along with the parts management agreement if you so choose. Essentially, as you can see here from the timeline of drive purchase to end of life, you know, us as Gerrie Electric and Rockwell, we're not just here to sell you just the drives and then, you know, meet you at the finish line. You know, you can see here that we're here for a collaborative process. We want to be with you every step of the way, whether it be a drive startup for drive commissioning or training. You know, everything has a shelf life, so obviously Rockwell's a great repair or remanufacturing group. Kind of a little tidbit about that is they don't just repair single points of failure. Rockwell prides himself on doing full rebuilds. And again, you know, everything has that shelf life. So at the end of that, you know, when the time comes for modernization, you know, to provide you turnkey solutions to help you modernize end of life technology. Here's the kind of whole architectural portfolio of the PowerFlex. As you can see to our left, the PowerFlex 753, 755 was kind of the first model of the 750 series drive group. And this is, you know, for the foreseeable future, this is not going anywhere. This is an active, supported group within Rockwell's portfolio of drives. The breakouts down here, you can see, speed, torque, and position. It's also a 6-pulse drive, but it just has the force technology, and also the XT options only go from frame 8 to 9. Moving forward, the 755TS which is what John and myself are talking about today. That also has speed, torque, and position control, XT options for all its frames, SIP security. It's also a 6-pulse drive, but as you can see here, it has the total force technology. And Rockwell, just to give you a little information on what total force technology means, Rockwell defines total force technology to be able to combine high performance motor control, advanced self-monitoring capabilities, and also to give you a digital platform to deliver faster, more precise, and more responsive AC drives. So just more faster and precise applications. It also gives you the preventative maintenance so you could see your life cycle of components within that drive. The 753, 755 does have that, but a little bit, but it's more so you could kind of see certain components, not a full wide view of like how the 755TS does on that one previous slide with the CCW. At a later date, John and myself will be doing webinars on the 755TL and TR and the TM, which is kind of show you as we go down further down the models. These drives deal more so with regen and low harmonic. Again, still having the total force technology. And moving forward on the TM, this active front end or 6-pulse or non-regen bus supply. So if your drive's running on a common bus, that will be with the TM model. All three of the T families use the total force technology. And again, all these models they're all active. They've been all released and available for purchase and support, of course. I know I've kind of touched upon this on previous slides, but on the TL, TR, and TM, the XT option is standard. So that there is no just the normal plastic casing of the standard model. The extreme temperature and corrosive solution is a standard on the TL, TR, and TM model. And to kind of just summarize on the points I've talked about, with the PowerFlex 755TS, it's here to jumpstart your productivity and can help increase your plant production, reduce energy and maintenance costs, and minimize your downtime. I want to touch upon a couple things just before I wrap up on my slides. I know John touched upon it in the beginning of his, and it's just this PowerFlex 755TS availability. So 400 to 480 volts, frames 1 to 7, 400 horsepower are and have been available since March the 30th. The XT option for the corrosive gas protection will be coming late summer, early fall of 2022. 200 and 240 volt and the 600 volt will be coming late 2023 with a SIP motion, also coming spring of 2023, and the SIP security certification will be coming later that year and also 2023. So with that being said, we thank you so much for attending today, both Gerrie and customers alike, and thank you for listening to John and myself on the presentation on the 755TS. We will be announcing at a later time other webinars on the other T models, the TL, the TR, and the TM. And with that being said, we'll open the floor to questions. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Excellent work, John and Austin. Just enabling everybody's microphones. If you have a question, maybe I would like to ask that you use the reactions across the top menu. Raise your hand or just give a reaction. And we're happy to answer any questions you have. So with that being said, is there anything anybody would like to know a little bit more about? Any questions, concerns? Okay, well, All right. Well, we're gonna hang out for a few minutes. In case anybody thinks of something. So feel free. We'll stick around till noon if you have any questions. This meeting was recorded. We'll make it available for on demand. If you have any further questions about it, feel free to reach out to John Zekris or Austin Mahado. Feel free to call or email them. And I want to thank everybody for coming. I hope you enjoyed it. Great presentation again, John and Austin. You guys did awesome. You did awesome. So we're gonna hang around for a few more minutes in case there's any last minute questions people want to ask. Yeah, nice work. I think we had about 24 people at one moment.
Yeah, it seemed like a very good crowd. A lot of definitely good attendance for sure.